Why did I not imagine that that was coming?
You
I thought I was smart. You just
I'm
proved me.
smarter.
I welcome scrutiny. I welcome oversight. But there's a but.
Is there somebody gunning for your job? You asked for it, and with me is a man who has been on the hot seat in the recent week regarding matters, performance of his ministry. But today, we're going to give him a chance to tell his side of the story. Waziri, thank you so much for agreeing to have a conversation with us at Kenyans.co.ke and for having us at this beautiful office of yours.
My pleasure.
Yes.
My pleasure, and it's indeed our pleasure as a ministry to have you join us. Mm-hmm. This is our home, as you can see, very easy.
Yeah.
It's a place for sportsmen and women, mm-hmm. a place for creatives, a place for young people. Mm-hmm. So you can even see the art. That is art by a gentleman from Siaya. That is a piece of art by a gentleman from Mukuru, Kwa Njenga. Mm-hmm.
It's actually good because, most of the times when they give you these paintings, they don't know what happens to them. They don't know, do you just touch them or where do you put them? So it's actually very good to see.
These ones actually we purchased them.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Part of our monetization agenda.
Ah, all right.
There's some Fukoni.
Great.
Yeah.
So now we are just going to dive into it. So you have been at the forefront of launching a number of initiatives since you took office, right? And it's been around approximately 10 months. Why do you think these recent attacks on your performance are coming up now?
Honestly, this flew at us right from the blue. It was like bang, bombshell out of nothing. And especially at a time when we feel that as a ministry, not just me, because this ministry is not Ababu Namwamba, the Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Arts and Sports is broad. And I feel that that whole ecosystem, with myself as the Cabinet Secretary, I feel we've done pretty well, actually, really, really well, especially given where we took off from. Because 10 months ago, when we walked into this office and took over this ministry, we inherited a mess, a big mess. FIFA suspension.
What is this mess?
The mess we inherited, and 10 months ago, Kenya could not play international football because of suspension by FIFA.
Right.
Number two, we were facing the threat of a ban by World Athletics. And if you ask me, that would have been more diabolical than football. That is what we were facing last year because of the crisis of doping. For doping, again, I hunted down Lord Sebastian Coe, the president of World Athletics. We engaged again. We exchanged correspondence. We made commitments. Among the commitments was to commit $5 million a year for 5 years and to put in place a multi-agency task force to wage an all-out total war on doping. Infrastructure. 10 months ago, Kenya could not host a single international football game because all our stadia had been banned by CAF, the Confederation of African Football. The other problem we inherited, the creative industry. Many people may not be aware that this ministry is also responsible for music, for film, for theater, for fashion, for pageantry, for literary arts, waandishi wa vitabu, all that space of the arts, the creatives, is part of this ministry. We found a space that was in total slide, total state of flux. The question of royalties. You meet artists who tell you, I enter Matatu, I hear my music. I go to a club, I hear my music. I go to a restaurant, I hear my music. I've been hearing my music for years. I've never seen a penny in royalties. And we dived in to start sorting out the mess of royalties and just to consolidate that space and to monetize that space. Within 1 month of coming to office, we hosted Kenya's first ever creative summit. We called it the National Creative Summit. We brought together over 300 creative. You heard His Excellency William Ruto talk about the creatives bill that is coming in the next 60 days. It's a product of that process. Before we talk about the plans we have put in place, and you talked about the things we've been launching, you launch things in the context of what you have found.
That's true.
Finally, we found a scenario where the whole idea of monetized talents was alien. And so we decided the only way to turn sports and the creatives into a key driver of the economy is monetization. We have to get money into this space. One, you need to get partners in here. Even corporate sponsors that previously supported things like football, you used to see super sport. People who used to support rallying like KCB, they used to put a lot of money in rallying.
Yeah.
They have taken off. We are bringing them in. This year, KCB gave 100 million shillings to the rally. This year, we are going to have corporate sponsorship for football. We are bringing in those partners back. So the mess we inherited was mega. We are not out of the woods yet. Because
but now, before we go there, about this mess, you have talked about doping. Have you taken any action against either former officials or those who are still currently serving in this ministry who are responsible for this mess?
You know, doping is a hydra-headed monster. And it is one of the most tricky issues, including even for global institutions. Now for us, we also have our own infrastructure here. We have something called EDAC, Antidoping Agency of Kenya, backed by a whole piece of legislation called Antidoping Agency of Kenya Act of 2016. Now, EDAC is affiliated to WADA and works closely with the AIU, the Athletics Integrity Unit. Now, they have been doing a lot of work, I must admit. They've been doing a lot of work. But the one challenge we realized immediately, we beamed our light on this matter, was that they were working in silos. And so the plan we gave World Athletics that led to World Athletics sparing Kenya the ban was that you needed a multi-agency approach. EDAC only does testing. So they do testing. So it is like closing the door after the horse has bolted out. They don't do investigation. They don't do prosecution. They don't do serious sensitization. So we immediately called a forum, a multi-agency forum, of everybody we believe has a role. We called a forum that held Athletics Kenya, the judiciary, the prosecutorial agencies, like the office that is responsible for actually taking action in court, the investigative agencies, the DCI, the NIS. We called all of them together. We formed a multi-agency task force. That agency will now have this ministry. It will have Athletics Kenya. It has the AIU, the Athletics Integrity Unit, that represents WADA. It has World Athletics themselves represented there directly. But in terms of the critical agencies, now we have NIS, we have DCI, we have DPP. Because DPP is there because you need the prosecution there.
That's true.
And significantly, we have the judiciary. And we have also placed at their disposal the technical people. You need investigators, you need prosecutors, you need judicial officers. We have even asked the judiciary to set aside special magistrates to just deal with these cases. We have asked whether the judiciary, whether the Chief Justice can give us dedicated magistrates, because this is critical. This is a matter of strategic national interest.
It sounds like this ministry has a very elaborate plan, right, that they've put in place to correct all these messes. But now that's what brings me back to my first question is, then why the certain scrutiny?
First of all, let me make it absolutely clear as the head of this ministry that scrutiny is good. So I welcome scrutiny, I welcome oversight, but there's a but. That scrutiny, that oversight should be based on facts. It should be based on the reality. Because, for instance, if you scrutinize based on misinformation or based on erroneous information, then even the scrutiny itself will be erroneous. For instance, if you insist that you have seen a Kenyan player wearing a brand that a Kenyan player cannot wear, there is no way a Kenyan athlete can go to an international competition wearing anything other than Nike. But you are insisting that you have seen them wearing something other than Nike. It's important that we clarify that actually there is a contract between the National Olympics Committee of Kenya and Athletics Kenya with Nike. And for an athlete to wear anything other than Nike would be breach of contract. It could actually lead to Nike suing our athletics body and even suing the government of Kenya. So to insist that our athletes have worn anything other than Nike, you are actually compromising the integrity of the country.
So where were they getting this information of the fake?
I have
Adidas?
no idea. I have no idea, because all the teams that have left to represent the country under my watch since I became cabinet secretary in the last 10 months, in each of those events where I have handed them this flag, they have been in their full official kit. Photos are available. You just need to go to our Twitter handle. If nowhere else, you just need to go to our Facebook page. You just need to go to our pages. You'll see the shoes, bold tick, Nike. You'll see the kit, everything is Nike. So if you are using information other than what is gathered from the official outlets of the ministry, then I don't know what it could be. If you don't want information from the ministry, the bodies responsible, Athletics Kenya has outlets. National Olympics Committee of Kenya has outlets. Every time they bring the teams to us to flag off, they also report those activities on their own outlets. You could go to their outlets and check what were these people wearing, okay? If that is not even satisfactory, every time we flag off a team, we make it a media event. So we normally invite the media. You could even ask those media to give you, this day a Kenyan team was flagged off to Tunisia, give us the clips or give us the photos of how they were clothed or how they were dressed. So this information is in the public domain, absolutely. So you just need to look for it and you'll find it.
If these allegations then are unfounded, here we have a member of your own party who has been supported by another member, which is Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, in questioning some of these aspects. So what I'm trying to understand is, from your perspective, do you feel like this is a witch hunt? Is there somebody gunning for your job?
I look at it from two perspectives. Because the misinformation has not just been about kit. The misinformation has also been about other material issues which are not factual. For instance, it has been claimed that I'm in Budapest. I'm here. It has been claimed that I've been gallivanting all over the place, going to events with baggage, for want of a better word. The truth, and you can just cross-check that with the ministry, with the PS. The PS is the accounting officer here. You can just call the PS, and the PS will tell you, Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba has not accompanied Team Kenya to any event. All these events that I've mentioned, not one have I physically traveled to those events. I flag off the team. We send a technical team of 1 or 2 officers to represent the ministry. So if you say I'm out there, or I've been roaming all over the place, I'm flying first class, and I'm doing this, it is just not factual. Or you say I have Subarus that push people off the road. I have never used a Subaru in my life. I don't own a Subaru. There is no Subaru on my fleet. My first reaction, my grandmother Helena taught me not to impute ill will. So I take it that, number one, It could be just lack of information, that people may be making utterances. Maybe they have been given erroneous information and they just don't have the information. It happens a lot. I mean, even the media sometimes can report a story that does not have the full facts. So my first reaction would be, wait a minute, Mheshimiwa doesn't have the right information. I owe Mheshimiwa to give him the right information. Okay? So that's the possibility, that they just don't have the right information. And maybe it could be telling me that my communication team needs to step up a bit and maybe communicate a bit more. And perhaps our members of parliament are not feeling the good work we are doing. So we need to tell our members of parliament a bit more. That is a possibility. The second possibility is that maybe you may not rule out the usual politics. We operate in a political environment, and politics is never too far away from the work that we do. But what I can tell you is that I serve at the pleasure of the appointing authority. His Excellency the President has given me a job. He has expressed confidence in my capabilities, and on 9th of June, as he launched Talanta Hela, he used the words to quote him, "This is the right man for this job." And so I believe I enjoy the confidence of the appointing authority, but I would want the country to know what we are doing. Besides the appointing authority at whose pleasure I serve, I would want the leaders of this country to know what we are doing.
Right. And just enlighten me, because there may be this perception that the fact that you are from the same party, that of course you have rapport, that if indeed, as you said, they did not have the necessary information, that instead of maybe coming to the floor of the House, maybe they would have come directly to you to clarify. So have you had, even after the scrutiny, have you had any one-on-one conversations with Deputy Speaker, with Majority Leader?
Oh yes, oh yes. I have had. Immediately I saw my Majority Leader on the floor. I looked for him right away. I looked for him and said, hey, story gani hii? And I could understand where he was coming from. I could understand the kind of information that had been given to him. Okay. After I appeared in Parliament on Wednesday, I sought out a number of the honorable members who I could feel needed to be engaged. I sat down with Honorable Gladys Sholay, my very good friend. I mean, Gladys Sholay, the Deputy Speaker, is a person I hold in very high regard, and we have worked together. We've been in the trenches together, fighting to get into government. We worked together at the command center. We spent sleepless nights together at Bomas of Kenya, protecting our victory. So I looked for her after the session in Bunge, and I was like, "Hey, wewe ni bestie, okay? Besides being my deputy speaker, wewe ni bestie. Tumetoka mbali, tumehustle ndani ya trenches," and she was able to explain to me, okay, the issues that she has, the areas of concern that she would want to see, and there are certain genuine concerns where, for instance, she's saying our athletes want to feel a bit more personalized attention. Our policy here is that we deal with our athletes through their parent federations. I could hear the Deputy Speaker say, some of these athletes want more than just that. They want you to engage more directly with them, and that for me is genuine.
And is that something you're open
Of
to
course,
considering?
Absolutely. Actually, next week, we are actually having a sit-down, a round table with athletes. I just want to make them feel that if they're not feeling us, if there's this buffer of the federation, we are available. We are available to listen to them and engage with them directly. So that is something I take very positively.
And now, moving on to something that has also was a point of concern, Talanta Hela.
Yes.
So Talanta Hela was launched by you and the president. My question is, why would you launch a program before ensuring that all functionalities are set? Because what we have now is we don't have an app. And I know you did speak about it in Parliament and you gave the reasons. There have been some delays. Why go that route? Why not just launch something in its entirety?
You know, this is such a good opportunity to to amplify this and to clarify this. Talanta Hela is not an app, but Talanta Hela did not just jump at us, because people imagine that we just came here and decided we want something called Talanta Hela. No. Talanta Hela is a consolidation. It's a consolidation of the thinking, the imagination, the dreams, the vision of President William Ruto. Talanta Hela is about answering the question of what happens to team sports. How come individual sports like athletics, we thrive? When you come to team sports, football, rugby, we collapse. What happens? Is there a problem in the way we develop teams and progress talents? Talanta Hela sought to answer that question. But Talanta Hela primarily, most importantly, answers this primary question. How do you turn sports and the creatives into a mega economy? How does music become a mega economy like it is in Nigeria? Kenyans are obsessed with Niger music. How did Nigeria do it? Kenyans are obsessed with Afro cinema, will be coming back shortly. Okay. What did Nigeria do right to get their cinema industry or their film industry so mega? Talanta Hela is about providing a framework where sports and the creatives can be a mega industry. But I could read the misconception that Talanta Hela is an app, and this app is not online. And I was explaining that even the app, which is a teeny percentage of Talanta Hela, the Talanta Hela digital system, what they're erroneously calling app, is a very small percentage. It's actually like 5% of Talanta Hela. And we brought in this digital system because we realized there may be parts of this country that scouts may not reach physically. You may not be able to send a scout physically to some parts of Budalangi, for instance, my home constituency. So we decided, why don't you create an app? Why don't you create a system where a child in Budalangi, okay, can tell their parent, take your phone, dad or mom, take a clip of me playing for 2 minutes. And so your boy is playing, juggling the ball there, or singing, or acting. You take a 2-minute clip, you go to the Talanta Hela system, you upload. Okay? We are creating a back room that we are calling the screening center. So the moment you upload that clip of your 11-year-old or your 10-year-old playing or singing, that clip goes express to a screening center. In that screening center, you'll have scouts with about 20 large screens. And those things are supposed to be real time. You record in Budalangi or in Mandera or in Kilifi or in Tana River, the clip comes immediately. It is picked in the screening room. It is assessed. If the assessors feel this kid really, really can dribble, they invite the kid to the Kenya Academy of Sports or to the Academy of Music and take them through an audition. If they find this child or this young person of a standard that can be progressed, then that talent is progressed. Now, we have that system ready. The only delay, and I was upfront, I explained to members of parliament that screening room got delayed for what you can call procurement reasons. So the contractor who was supposed to make sure that the screens are put up and all that, the furniture, delayed a bit. And he gave us the completion date of September 4th. So in the next couple of weeks, the screening room will be ready. Today, if we put the app, if we activate the app, Kenyans will start sending content which will hit a dead end because the screening room is not ready. But the system is ready. We wrote to Safaricom. Safaricom is our partner, and so they are the ones providing the servers. So if you talk to Safaricom today, you could even talk to my friend Peter Ndegwa, the CEO of Safaricom. He'll tell you, CS Ababu Namwamba personally wrote to me, and requested partnership in terms of providing servers for the Talanta Hela system, which Safaricom kindly accepted. We wrote to the Communications Authority to ask for sender ID so that you can communicate even by SMS. And again, Ezra Chiloba, the CEO of Communications Authority, graciously granted us the rights to have a sender ID for that system. So the system is done.
So September
It is that
4th.
back room. And by the way, the moment that back room is ready, I would love to take your crew, okay, to go to that back room and test that system and actually see that content can be picked from as far as Mandera, as far as Shimoni, as far as Muhurube, and come to this screening center at the Kenya Academy of Sports. You see why I really like this interaction?
We will hold you to it.
Absolutely.
Now that you've said it on camera,
Yeah,
there's no
absolutely,
running away.
Absolutely. Why should I run
from
away?
this.
And you know, this office is not a private office. This is not my law firm. I'm a lawyer. This is not a law firm. This is a public office. You hold this office in trust.
Yes.
For the people.
Yes.
The only reason why Ababu Namwamba sits in this office is for the people of the Republic of Kenya.
That's very true.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. And now, Kenya Premier League.
Yes. KPL.
Yes, it's starting, it's coming. But
Tomorrow.
Yes, but we haven't had much, I might say, about like the preparations. And I do want to ask you, what are the plans?
Yes. First of all, I'm just happy that we can even sit here to talk about KPL. Now, for this season, I have told FKF that this is the first season under the presidency of His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. It must be a season with a difference. We want the season to be well run. So I asked them to start with the basics, the venues, because some of these stadia are going to be closed. So at some point, Nyayo, Kasarani, and Kipchoge Keino in Eldoret are going to be closed to public. Immediately the contractors are ready and they take over the facilities. You'll not be able to access them. So we have identified alternative venues, like Ulinzi, the Ulinzi Sports Complex, at the Langata Barracks, Kirigiti in Kiambu, Kinoru in Meru, Wanguru in Kirinyaga. We have identified quite a number, and we believe that on that front, we are fairly well prepared.
Okay.
Now, we have made sure that live broadcast should be part of this season, okay? And so we have assessed various options, and there's a package that has been put together.
Okay.
This may not be the right time to announce that package because it's a package that has been put together in consultation with the Federation, Government Consulting Federation, and some partners, okay? But that partnership is ready. Once all the partners are ready to make it public, they'll make it public. But we are going to have live broadcasts, and we are going to have a sponsorship package of some money guaranteed to all the teams participating in KPL. Only then can you professionalize a league. You cannot professionalize a league without money. And even as we do this, the package we have put together for me is an ignition, is a start. But long term, we are working around the clock for mega corporate sponsorship. You need mega corporate sponsorship. We are talking to a few big corporates, making some progress. Ultimately, I want to see big money in our football. I want to see Kenyan football players earning the kind of money we hear in bigger leagues. I mean, even if we just started with a player taking home $1 million bob a month, I would be happy. If we started with a player being transfer fee of 10, 20 million shillings, I'll be happy. And that can only happen with the serious corporate investment, serious corporate partnership. And that is something that we are focused on 100%.
Moving away from sports, one of the initiatives that had been fronted was the creation or the setting up of studios in 47 counties, right? But we have counties like Nairobi, Nakuru, just to name a few, that are already saturated with these studios. So my question is the issue, because nowadays people can actually create music or create art from the comfort of their home.
Absolutely.
Even in the kitchen,
Yes.
just the phone, the laptop, they're good to go. Why would the focus be on that as compared to the distribution of this music in a way that we ensure that money does come back into the pockets of these artists?
If you look at the Talanta Hela frame, and maybe you need to give me an interview exclusively Talanta Hela, just to talk Talanta Hela. And maybe another one just on the creatives, because the creatives is a whole space where we have done a lot, and it would be good to just talk about that. But quickly on the recording, it is important to look at the creative space holistically, because it is an ecosystem that runs from nurturing the talent to recording the talent to marketing the product, okay, and then getting money back to the artist. It's a whole circuit. We are fixing that whole circuit. In fact, while studios are important, and I told you I've just come from a meeting with the Kakamega Governor Fernandez Baraza, as we looked at the design of Buhungu, we quickly told him, in this design, there must be a couple of studios, so that it's not just a stadium. It's a place where people can play football, but artists can also record music. So populating the whole country with the recording capabilities. In fact, we are not talking just about, we are talking about capabilities, because it may not actually be a physical studio. It may be equipment. It may be that you are actually supporting artists with equipment. As you say, you can be able to record in the comfort of your bedroom, in the comfort of your lounge, in the comfort of your kitchen. But we need to support you with the equipment. I have just launched this morning a program by Kenyan Invest, okay, that is intended to trigger young people to be entrepreneurial, for young people to be not seekers of employment, but co-creators of employment opportunities. That is one way of doing it. And so we will build that capability, but we are also interested in how do you progress the product. And that is why we have forged some very significant partnerships, which you should allow me to mention. We have signed an MOU with Tress. Tress is a significant platform, Tress TV, Tress Radio, Tress Academy. We have an MOU signed in this office. And that MOU will be anchoring a very, very innovative program called Who's Next? Who's Next is a competition to discover Kenya's next big music star. It's going to be run across all the 47 counties. And actually, I'm announcing to Kenyan artists, Who's Next is coming to the next space near you. And Who's Next is not for established stars. So if you're a big star already, you have a name, like my friend Trio Mio, you already have a platform. Pole, this is really not for you. Who's Next is for rookies, unknowns, people who we want to give the platform to fly, give them some wings to fly, some wind in their sails. And after you are identified, we'll identify the top 30. After you have identified the top 30, they'll be progressed to the Trace Academy for training, polishing, training, and even management of finances. Some artists fall just because they don't manage their finances very well. Management, investment, and that kind of stuff. After that, they'll progress to record. After your record, we will use the Trace platforms to funnel out your production. So you're going to see yourself on Trace TV, you're going to hear yourself on Trace Radio, and then promote your music. Which brings us to the elephant in the room. How does then that result in money for you? We are revamping the system of royalties collection, because that is where the problem is. Okay? All these people who hear their music everywhere. Oh, ninaingia matatu, nasikia muziki yangu. Niko kwa restaurant, nasikia muziki yangu. Na sioni pesa. We are putting in place a digital system First of all, we put the CMOs together. Now we want to institute a digital system so that the royalties can be collected digitally. We are also expanding the base. 2 months ago, I gazetted new tariffs for collection of royalties that are already in operation. Right now, we are discussing something called blank tape levy. It is a significant, if we are able to launch that one, the blank tape levy, the collection volumes of royalties will more than go tenfold. Okay?
What is it? What is a blank tape levy?
Blank tape levy is that anything, any gadget that has recording capability imported into this country is levied. You bring in this camera, we levy it. You bring in this phone, we levy it. Anything, any gadget that can be used to record or transmit, okay, content, we have put a levy on it. We have calculated in trans into billions of shillings. That is money which I would love to see collected by KRA, and we are already in discussions with KRA on enforcement of the blank tape levy, to see how that money can be collected by KRA and then funneled to artists. So for me, it is not just about studios. You know, you can record something fantastic, but it doesn't result. My friend Ruben Kigame, he tells me I hear my music everywhere. Oh, Huniachi, popular song, Huniachi. Oh, Enda Nasi, popular song. He tells me even in your political events, Ababu, I see you playing Huniachi. I see you playing Enda, and I love those two songs, Huniachi, and I love that music. And then he says, where is the money? Where is the money from this stuff? We must create a system where Ruben is able to get money from his music playing out there. And so we will support you to record, but we must also support you to promote, and then significantly, your production must result in pesa mfukoni for you. That for me is the ultimate.
Thank you. And now in conclusion, as we end this, is there, because I know you know who I'm talking about, is there a relationship with this famous social media influencer? Because it seems to be such a big point of conversation.
Why don't you just ask your question succinctly, clearly, coherently, unambiguously, without prevarication or circumlocution? Just ask the question. You know, the beauty of cornering someone who holds public office is that you can ask him anything under the sun.
All right.
Because he belongs to the public.
All right.
Yeah, so he owes the public accountability.
All right, so here's my question.
Yes, please.
Straightforward. Is Aziad your girlfriend?
No, she's not.
Okay.
No.
What is the relationship?
Aziad is not my girlfriend. We don't have any relationship whatsoever. I actually feel sorry for the poor girl. You know me Ababu Namwamba, I have played politics. I have been in the trenches. And you know, when you played politics and you worked in these public spaces, you grow the skin of a crocodile on top of a hippo, covered by the skin of a buffalo. Okay, you grow a thick one. And so you can take all sorts of blows. Yeah. But people who have not really circulated in this space, I feel for them. So I feel for Aziad. I feel bad for Aziad because we appointed Aziad alongside many other Kenyans to a technical team which we believed would add value in the programs that we are progressing or we are implementing. I met with the technical team. She attended the next one. And so her letter was presented to her at that next sitting. Okay? Everyone else received their letter, I believe, at Kasarani. But then our next meeting was held at our Sanaa Hall here, which Aziad attended, and then she was given her letter. Why anyone would pick that particular photo and turn it into spin it, actually not turning, spin it into something completely inappropriate is absolutely reprehensible. Absolutely reprehensible. And I would say that while it is absolutely acceptable to put public servants and public officers under scrutiny, it is also not fair to spread rumors and to slander the character of innocent people. It is certainly not right. And while you may want to scrutinize Ababu, okay, but why do you want to destroy the reputation of a young person who really, really, in my honest view, is an example of a real hustler that has hustled her way to a space where she can take care of herself and perhaps take care of her family and many other people who may depend on her. So I believe Aziad has not been treated fairly. I have not been treated fairly myself. I can take what has come my way because I hold public office. And holding public office, I have no problem people raising questions about me. But Aziad is innocent, as I am. Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. And we have come to the end. So maybe I'll ask.
Why did I not imagine that that was coming?
You didn't see, you didn't.
I thought I was smart. You just
I'm smarter. So now I will ask you to probably look into this camera.
Okay.
Tell our audience something. If you want to pose a question, if you want to make a statement. This is from Ababu Namwamba.
Roosevelt, third president of the United States of America, famously quipped, to get something you have never had, you must do something you have never done. We are in a place where our country has underperformed in so many respects. Sports, creatives, maximizing on the potential of our young people, because we have never really provided a forum. We have never really created a pipeline to harness the potential that is out there. We have put in place this incredible initiative called Talanta Hela. I want Kenyans to own Talanta Hela, because Talanta Hela in our agenda of monetizing talents will provide an incredible launch pad for millions of our young people to realize their dreams by turning your talent into your livelihood. And so I invite you to be part of this. And to quote the words of another great American, Eleanor Roosevelt, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So let us dream together and make Kenya the greatest country ever.